Hey Jason, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Well,
Good.
I just, as soon as I think that I'm done with my husband's stuff, um, sorry, it's like I open up the mail just now to find out that I'm being sued by my stepdaughter. And I'm like, of course I am. Well, they're angry because they didn't know that their dad was in hospice for a year. They didn't, they wanted to be in a relationship with him without me because of the ex-wife. So now what I'm dealing with is the repercussions of their actions because, again, you didn't want to be in your dad's life because of me. That's not my fault. You're not going to deflect your anger onto me because you listened to your mother. So now your father didn't really want to, you weren't good children. My husband was hit by a cab. They didn't help. Like they lived right, they lived, one lived with us and he never lifted a finger. I mean, they used him like a wallet. And it's so funny because when I met my husband, even though that there was an age gap, I knew I was supposed to be with him. And there's just some soul contracts, soul family, like soul, like there's all different types of soul relationships. And I'm excited to talk about this today because it's like, well, I knew that this was coming a long time ago too. So I set myself up because when you see, I never met anyone more like my mom, my mother, my very sick psychological because she was beaten, abused from a man that came home from World War II. And he was also captain of the New York City Fire Department. So he saw try and they self-medicated. So he had a lot of rage inside of him. So, I mean, but he was a good man. You see, he was a very good man. He did very good deeds. He jumped off bridges to save people, but again, to his own, not so good, right? Like when people get so angry. And so I never met anyone more like my mother than my husband's ex-wife. I was like, and I used to like react to her literally. And I remember calling, you think I'm crazy, but I called Psychic Hotline Network and I was calling in from the car and I was so afraid. I was like shaking and I was calling and the psychic on the other line says, "Why are you acting like she's your mother?" She said that, and that for the first time. And you know what? My husband acted exactly the same way that I did with my mother to his ex.
Oh, wow.
Didn't know how to set the appropriate boundaries. So it was a miracle that God had put me in the situation that now I get to see a different outcome. And the different outcome is you will not. Yes, I allowed you to treat me like shit for the past 20 years. Yes, I did with a lot of disrespect, with no help, no acknowledgement of any birthday, holiday, Christmas, anything. It was like, you're nothing. But my husband left me everything and he owned a company. So I own part of that company now. And that's what they're upset about because it's like, wait a minute, but I've been in my husband's life for over 20 years. And I took him away from that. And unfortunately, the children were used as pawns and they took the mother's side because coming across as a spiritual person, but not I come across the way that you do, Jason. Like, unfortunately, we get treated like we're pushovers a lot of times. People again think that, and that's why I'm sharing this with you, because God tells me to like tell you so that you see, like, again, and really what it is it's like, no, you're going to see that strength is the fact that could withstand 20 years of your bullshit. But at the end of the day, the judgment scale goes like all highly sensitive. The scale has and the judge has made its final decision, and I only do what's fair. And you people were not in my life. And you were not respectful to your husband at all. You treated him horribly. It's like because your mother cheated on your father the whole time, used him as a wallet. You knew that. So it's like, again, but because you don't want to take care of her. So, and the thing is, I know because growing up in a very dysfunctional household, somebody was expected to take care of my mother. And I was the weakest one, but I again escaped, but I ran from it. This time, when my husband died, Spirit said, when your husband dies, know that they will try and come and take everything. That's again because they're in survival mode. It doesn't work. So again, be as wise as a serpent, but be as gentle as a dove, because that's how God does it. And it's like it's don't and I set it up so that they couldn't come down. So I didn't tell anyone that my husband was in hospice. I let him say everything. But the thing is, my husband didn't want to know he was sick. My husband was avoidant. And I made the best of that disability because I said, well, I'm not going to share with you since we don't have a relationship. I'm not going to share with you why I'm not going to invite the devil into my, doorstep. I already know. I could see you. How you were planning on doing it was I would call you up and say, your father's sick. You guys would have came down. And then when he died, you would have been right in my home, but you never knew. So when he died, you only knew the day after when your dad was at the morgue, when by the time I brought him to the morgue. And that's only because I made the mistake of telling my husband's partner, and they have a few salons, and it went around the salons that he died. And then someone called her up and said, my condolences. So then, of course, that's how she found out. But I had hired an attorney. I thought that he was going to call them knowing that I didn't have that. I didn't realize that that wasn't part of the deal. So, but I don't care actually because it's almost like the years of disrespect. I'm allowed to process. You weren't even in my husband's life. I don't have to like make you even. And that's what God says. It's like, that you have to walk your truth. You get treated like an asshole because it's like, now what are you going to feel bad for them? It's like, don't be an asshole where you're like, where you mouth off and you curse and you act like a crazy person like you like to do. Like, or that's what he says to me. And then he also says, but then also don't cower down and feel bad and give in. Don't do what the other person wants either. It's to put your energy towards what you want to do. It's like these people didn't earn this spot and they weren't in the life and they took advantage. And there's a sense of entitlement because, at one time, but all he had to do was really pay for college for you and he did everything. He did high and above for you. You didn't accept him. He always accepted you. So in the end, this is your karma because you didn't build a relationship with me. So I don't have to share anything with you. And spirit, and that feels wrong to me. It feels wrong. And God says, yes, because you were conditioned to give up your resources. So again, a lot of times what feels like, well, we want to do the right thing. We want to be fair. And spirit says, yeah, but you're in balance. So you'll give away everything. It's like, no. It's like so I felt like, again, I felt anxiety the other day and I said, who am I feeling this from? And I knew it was Natasha. I asked my friend, she goes, no, it's Donna. No, it was not. It was Natasha. And it was like, because I'm an empath, so I always know. And then I received that today. So she was like, get on the horn. I want that will read because it's like, again, I'm like sitting on it because I'm like, I don't need the money. I work for a living. You need the money.
Mhm.
Your mother needs the money. And he didn't leave your mother anything. He's divorced from your mother for over 30 years. And she's mad because she always thought she was going to be able to use the kids as pawns. So God actually,
Wow.
well, it's amazing because the real irony is I married a man 20 something years older than me, and he was my soulmate. Like I I knew him and I knew him like I knew him for many, many lifetimes. And same thing. Like I would think something, Jason, be like, I'm in the mood for an ice pop. The man would come out with an ice pop. It was like the weirdest fucking thing. Like it was like I say I'm in the mood for the and then everything which I wanted. Like and very psychic connection and very a soul connection. And it's like again where really when it's love like that my husband was in a trauma bond and really like unconditional love got him out of that trauma bond and what it taught him was to really love himself and to love his life because it's not that he bended to everything that I wanted him to do. He was stubborn, he didn't do that, but in the end he said, you know what, I'm not going to live the same way that I did with Deborah, that person that made me give up my life. I'm going to live like for what makes me happy. And he did. And in the end, a lot of people don't love you unconditionally when you do that. And that's the spiritual lesson that I think that we have to learn that, you know what? It's like I choose me all the time. And sometimes when you're being conditioned, you're not you don't choose to choose you.
Right. I've learned so much from you so quickly here. It's great. It's great.
Well, I
And,
think
and
it's always spirit will always channel what needs to be said because I always try and set up a lesson plan, but I'm just again, God's like, we're really doing this. Are you gonna read off the teleprompter? Like, and it's like, well, try to be like, I feel like structured, but I'm not really a structured person. I'm going to be honest with you. But I did say, I was like, I wanted to talk about like the different karmic relationship stages. And I feel
Mhm.
like there are things that are important tools that people don't know. And part of it is reading stuff, I mean, even though spirit is like, well, no one wants to have someone read everything, but I think that when it's interactive, you're able to ask questions and you're
Mhm.
able to um you're able to get more out of it because my whole point is why are we even taking this class unless you can apply the information to your life? People want to know how to live successfully, but how can you live successfully if you don't understand the concepts? It's like anything else. It's like trying to learn anything. You have to read the directions. I never read directions, though I'm a feeling type. But that's why a lot of times I'll break whatever it is, and that's why it will say, there's certain things that need that type of structure. So I
Mhm.
have some things, and I'm just going to jump in.
Okay.
Like because and people will come on when they come on. Now, did you have a trigger of the week that you wanted to share with me?
Yeah, so I met a new person. Oh my gosh, it's so quickly intense in a good way. In that we mostly talked on the phone, and it's been like this deep dive into who each other are. And I feel like I've known her for a long time. Um, but she's very methodical and slow. Um, like even though we're talking about very intimate things and we both are so attracted to each other, she made a comment last night that I'm not we're we're not boyfriend and girlfriend. Like she didn't want to apply a label. Like it was very important to her to not apply a label,
I
and
think,
it immediately put me into abandonment, like a pothole. Like when she
but
just
that's
stepped
why
in a
I think
pothole.
because listen, what it is it's this. When people feel now you have an intimacy issue, and that's about trust. That's all that there is. But it's trust of I want that love. I want that love and I want that consistent love. And so again, there's a sense of, oh, like in the beginning, there is a get to know, there is an attraction, but you did it already. You went in and you said, oh, I feel this connection and this and that, and you got wrapped up in it. And that's why she said that to you. Because she's like, wait, like I don't want to like because it's in the beginning, everybody gets caught up in the fantasy of what it could be. And
Yeah.
so the thing is, it's like, but then a second later, like what'll happen is it's like everyone's all in, and then all of a sudden what you'll notice is someone will be like, one person will be like, eh. And you're like, what the fuck is that? And then that leaves the other person like, what the fuck is that? Like you're creating problems already right out of the gate, intimacy problems out of the gate. So it's all how you react to it. So again,
Right.
so it's like not to say it. So you should be like, I'd be like, I know that we're not boyfriend and girlfriend. Be like, but I'm excited. I'm just excited to get to know people. You know, like almost like you would have to come back almost a little bit like arrogant in a nice way though, meaning like I know that we're not boyfriend and girlfriend, but I just like to go out and have a good time. Like, I don't know what
Mm.
you're talking about. You know what I mean? Because that person now, it was triggered by their intimacy issues. Because you were like, oh, yeah, this is what I want. This really feels like what it could be. And that person's
Mm.
like, whoa. And so, which means that that you're getting like you're reading and understand that person is giving mixed messages. You're not picking up nothing. It's not like you're not. It's that there's an attraction there. But if you're
Mm.
too open to that, then it's like so you that what you always have to be like, yeah, well, like I'm into you because it's like I'm into like what the outside, but it's like I'm gonna take it 10 steps back and I'm going to because it's just it's the triggering of other people's intimacy, and that's because you didn't have it. And because you
Mm.
didn't have it, there's a sense of, well, I want this person to know how I feel. And so the spirit says, you let them know how you feel too soon. And that's because of human nature. What comes a little bit harder is always a little bit more desirable. What holds a little
Mm.
mystery is always a little bit more desirable. Instead of, I'm going to show you everything up front because this is then you come across needy. So, and then needy as in like emotionally. So that's why it's like where if you were like, let's just say, like really, I feel like you need to do more physical activity like racquetball or something like that, believe it or not. And it's like you incorporate different things, movement, better connection to the physical body, because in that there's more presence and again, and feeling comfortable. It's like doing more of that stuff during the week is like gonna help channel that nervous energy into because it's like you got a lot of nervous energy. And that's I have the same thing. I wouldn't be able to do this fucking job. So there's no judgment. Like it's like, and that's because again, we were made to feel inadequate.
Mm.
So that's the abandonment. I feel like there's something wrong with me. And God says, there's nothing wrong with you, except for again, you keep saying that there's something wrong with you. Get, get out,
Right.
get out of your head and get into your body. It's again better connection to the physical body. Again, doing racquetball, again, being there. It's like, yeah, like I don't know, maybe. Like you'd be like, I don't know, yeah, maybe. Like when you're really busy and you're loving life, and then there's somebody attractive that's like, hey, you want to go to lunch? You're like, yeah, I don't know, maybe. Like I'll catch, I'll let you know. But then you can call them, but it's like, I'm not like I don't have that much time for you. It's how much
Mm.
time. It's like how much nurturing that person hasn't earned that spot. But what that woman was saying is, you've given me the spot already. And what I'm telling you is, I don't know whether I'm ready for that. And so just because I feel that attraction, and it's because a lot of people have intimacy issues. And what you know is you'll always get an avoidance. So it's like because of what happened. So
Mm.
that's so you have to again. balance out the energy by again more grounding energy, because then you're going to meet a lot of different people. Then you have a choice, because you're not only meeting people like that. It's like because you're changing it up, and it's like, and that forces that avoidant person not to be so avoidant. And then you have a selection, and then you're not giving too much. And that may feel wrong, but God says healing doesn't feel good. Just the same as, well, this lawsuit, maybe I should give, and God says you give nothing. It's like because once you feed the mice, they come back for more. It's like, and then you look like a pushover. It's like
Right.
it's again, and what they did means nothing. It's like, and that's the karma they have. It's like, don't do my job, do yours. You were
Hmm.
gifted, enjoy the gift. It's like, don't feel bad about it. And it's like, and I actually don't. And I feel that, but do I feel that person's anxiety? I absolutely do, because I'm highly sensitive and I can't seem to shut it off with certain people because they're so obsessive. It's all day, all night, all day, all night, all day, all night. Like they come across as witches. That's manifestation energy. But the only difference is the higher the vibration always wins. God always wins. Always come from unconditional love to be in the right. And that's why this ex-wife can't believe it, because she's manipulated for so long. But God said, that's why I brought you in, because it was a long time of manipulation. And your husband paid his karmic debt. He already did. It's like people live cycles, and I lived it. I seen it. And I seen that I would have had to inherit. And that's why I'm saying I know. Now, I feel like with this woman, it's like, no, just do more, back off a little bit. It's like, because what you'll see is a lot of different energy, and that's where you'll be like, okay, you're feeling like you're dealing with like a bunch of different people too. That's how
Mm.
you know a little bit fragmented. Like today you're this person, tomorrow you're that person, and it's almost like moody. And the thing is, when people are in balance, they're moody. Where we can be moody too, but we internalize it. Hey, well, a few cards fell on the ground, and my puppy is like, oh, this is like, you're not gonna touch them. Thank you. So, um, but that's like, but if you're caring too much, a highly sensitive person, and you're again feeding something, it's okay that you feel it. What I feel your energy, but I'm present here with you. So guess what? It doesn't matter what I
Mm.
feel. It's like I can block you out. I go out, you get more grounded, you get doing. It's like your choice of focus. And
Mm.
like to be able to, but the better the connection to the body, the more that you like again have a shield. You know what I mean? And that's really what it is, because you need to be able to do that, especially if you would, God forbid, get into a relationship with someone like this, because it means they're moody. They're going to tell
Mm.
you, I mean, you didn't say anything about a relationship, but you were giving those messages off. And that is again was too soon, too fast. And that's the only reason why that
Mm.
happened. Okay. But it doesn't, like again, it's just it's you haven't been dating her for months and months and months and months and months. And it just goes back to
No.
say why you need to have other passions in your life. Okay. Like that. So it's not, I think not, it takes practice. It takes like healing doesn't feel good. It feels wrong to like, you're like, I would, because spirit thing, you're doing what you would want. And so what you would want is because you never had it. So you're imbalanced in that way.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
always felt like the shortest distance between, 2 points is truth. And I'm like, and I'm a little impatient. So like, let's just show our cards and we
I
can be on our way. If we don't match, we can figure that out more
but
quickly.
I think that it's like people lie who they are. and that people don't even know, and a lot of subconscious. So what happens is it's like that means it's like you're looking for that person to somehow come into your life and fix it all. And the thing is that's expectation. And it's
Mm,
like it's and that's people get nervous. So I think it's more or less like I'm so
mm,
happy busy with having a love affair in my own life and fulfilled in my own life that this lawsuit doesn't really mean that much to me, because my name's on everything, my husband, I can
mm,
block it out. Um, and I have other things in my life that really do fulfill me, bring me joy. This puppy, like I mean, just stupid little things that you
mm,
can put because that's what life is. It's like when I pull the cards, right? The energy uh, these cards at the end of my readings, it's
mm,
like it says life is about placing your energy on the small patches of happiness. The small
mhm,
patches of happiness that are in your life to overcompensate for like people, situations, experiences that you have no control over. It's like, but you have to have that, like you have to have the faith to know that I know I'm a good guy. I know that I'm an attractive guy and I know that that I'm a good catch. But you have to walk that walk, and I don't believe that you walk it. And part of it
mm,
is that. Part of it is I just want to be in a relationship with spirits that I just want you to get that much love on your own. And it is possible, it's like otherwise you'll always feel a lack because we
mm,
desire more. As a highly sensitive person, you want more. That's really, it's like I want more because I didn't have it. It's like I want that person to come into my life, and you're good at articulating, you're good at, but you don't get people that are good at communicating. You get people that don't know how to communicate. You get people that play games. You get people that are not straightforward, and then it's very triggering. And then it's like where spirit says that's because you keep approaching it the same way. And it's like, and it's caring too much. They only get a half a slice of pizza in the beginning. Remember that. You keep giving
mhm.
them like too much. It's like, what are you, Italian? Come on in, let me feed you.
I wish I was.
That's what it is. It's like that. So I'm gonna get to reading this because people are already an hour late. How dare they? And I'm not staying on to like midnight either tonight.
That's fine.
You know? Okay. Karma is an invisible energy that flows through everything in the universe. It is created when we act in specific ways, whether knowing or unknowing. Karma can be positive or negative depending on how we act towards others and ourselves. Okay, so karmic partners act as mirrors reflecting back to us aspects of ourselves that need attention and healing. So again, that's why I explained to you why that happened.
Mhm,
Karmic relationships are often intense, challenging, and emotionally charged. Okay, the duration of a karmic relationship obviously varies significantly. They can last as long as it takes for both individuals to learn the intended lesson. This could mean months or years, but these relationships rarely last a lifetime due to their intense nature for rapid personal growth. Breaking the karmic cycle involves dissolving the boundaries between self and nature, which releases attachment to self. So each of us
mm,
is born with a sacred contract. And what that sacred contract is a reason or a purpose for being alive. That's why we're here. We're here to give and receive of love through our free will. Now, our sacred contract is what we are meant to do during our lifetime. You can also have sacred contracts with other people and learn why you're meant to know them. Like why is this person coming into your life? Now, sacred
mhm,
contracts are your spiritual agreements. They serve as a framework for guiding your experiences here on earth. The primary contract is the one that you make with spirit the God within inside of you. The divine agreement spells out your truest purpose and your passion. It consists of the impulses and inclinations of your higher nature, and they direct you towards the fulfillment of your soul's intention. Now
Mm.
let's see. Now there are other types of contracts, which is known as amakara, okay, which is the English translation is soul friend. That's pretty much what it
Mm.
means. Now, the spiritual concept describes the bonding of two souls who share a unique spiritual connection. We all have soul friends and soul mates. When you meet your soul friend, you will always recognize each other. In order to abide by your sacred contracts, follow these steps. You appreciate your life. When you look at your life without gratitude, you can't appreciate how it is trying to come together to get you to the next place. Realize you
Mm.
were special. Every life, especially your own, has something special to offer. And a real job is to figure that out. That's why you're here on earth. Let your spirit resolve issues with adversities. If you can see how that person has helped you grow, you can learn about yourself and discover why you were meant to know that person. Let it sink in. You will know when you have a sacred contract with another person. You'll feel the energy between you, whether it's I know you or I don't want to know you. Or, we get that too. uh, Or you are helping your spirit know yourself. Lack of understanding and direction leads to emotional stress, depression, and illness. Knowing yourself is not only important to your mind, but your body and spirit as well. The further you stray from your mission in life, the more out of sync your life will be. That's why, again, the whole thing is God says, me first, I'm a jealous God. That's through you first. And that's through your soul's purpose. If you're really in your passion, you won't want anyone to really come into your life and take too much energy, because your passion and in the beginning, get out, because in the beginning I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to move him out. You gotta get out of here. You're gonna get electrocuted. Yeah, yeah, like,
Oh no,
yeah, well,
chewing the cables.
he's chewing on the thing. He's gonna play outside with Dominic.
They have little plastic things that you can wrap around cables that I used to have to use for cats.
Yeah, like I
I don't.
know that he's doing it, and I'm like, you're gonna bust my computer, or then you're gonna electrocute yourself or something.
Right.
It's like, no, you're gonna go outside and you're gonna play with your brother and
Yeah.
antagonize him. Like, so, um, so like what happens is like if you're really in that passion, it brings you don't want someone to come to because they can jeopardize it. And
Mm.
so you want to protect it. And because that's what's most important. It's like your connection to God is really through your passion, through this, which I always say in every session. So you guys know that. So, what is this? Okay, let it sink in. You will know when you have a sacred contract with another person just between the energy that you feel them. Okay. And then another thing is know your behavior patterns. Every life is lived by an archetype, patterns that offer insight into our psyche. You gain insight into your life's mission if you notice your personality patterns. So every part of you has its role, no matter how painful or joyful it may be. Your exercise starts with the word always, as in, I always feel blank, or I always do blank. Anytime you find an always in your life, there's an archetype there. So again, you would be
Mm.
a healer, a giver. So we're going to go through the archetypes. So this is like I said, and then I'll send you these. I gotta fix them up a bit though, because my spelling is god awful, and you wouldn't want to see what I'm reading. Like, the fuck is
Hieroglyphics.
we be like, what the hell is this? Like Spirit says, you're gonna be a teacher, huh? It was like it was like you don't know how to write very well, like but we do the best that we can. Hey, AD. So we were up to the seven signs you're in a karmic relationship. So, like, again, because we'll find what our archetypes are when we get down to the bottom, I place this in order to make it kind of flow. So, and I'll
A
send,
quick question.
yeah,
Are
yeah.
there karmic relationships where people are deliberately trying to obstruct your ability to get to
Oh, well, yeah,
your purpose?
yeah, well, it's like they're not purposely. I don't think karmics do it purposely. I think just what happens is that the lesson, like if you're dealing with a very selfish person, you know what I
Mm,
mean? It's like that's on a low vibration, and you're like the healer, the fixer, and you haven't taught to love yourself, like what we talked about earlier. Well, then there went your opportunity. You know what I mean? You forfeit your opportunity. So part of having
mm,
these people come back into my life would be that. That's why I make sure that they don't, which is what spirit says. It's like that's, you already know everything's right there, and it's the
mm.
foresight. It's like because that it's that karmic contract. Okay, so
Okay.
there's seven signs you're in a karmic relationship. So again, number one, there's an immediate connection. Like you've met this someone before, like your soul recognizes this other person. There's ongoing conflict. It just never seems to really be easy. There's unresolved emotional baggage. Is it just feeling stuck, noticing red flags, codependency, lack of communication, like I said earlier, like which is a huge one, which is really irritating. Now, each of us is born with a sacred contract, a reason, a purpose, like I said, for us being alive. And our sacred contract is what, wait, I think I told you, read this one already, to you, but I will send it to you later. Okay, okay, so you know what? I'm just going to read it over. I hope you don't mind. It won't be that long.
That's okay. Sure.
Okay, so this for 80. So each of us, like, we're talking about sacred contracts. Like, what is a sacred contract? And and our sacred contracts, like, or like, in order for to understand, like, why we attract certain relationships, we're going through like the different archetypes, and we're going through certain things so that you can recognize in people when you're dating. Like, so Jason used an experience before. He said that he had met somebody and everything was going great, and all of a sudden the girl says, we're not in a relationship. And then he got depressed. So it's like where he's like, well, I got abandoned. And so again, we talk about the different behaviorisms by knowing your archetypes and by recognizing the archetypes in other people, by noticing sacred contracts, by again understanding what you're attracting and your behaviorisms, you're able to change the dynamic of the relationship so that at least you're not um, inheriting the negative karmic retribution. So I just wanted to catch you up because I'm going to read something. Been like, I got some papers here, and then I'll go back to your trigger of the week, and we'll see how that ties in to like what we're talking about. Because
Okay.
it will. I mean, because it did for Jason just in the beginning, and it will for you at the end. Like it's just how spirit works. Okay. So each of us are born with sacred content, a reason or a purpose for being alive. Your sacred contract is what you are meant to do during your lifetime. You can also have sacred contracts with other people and learn why you are meant to know them. Sacred contracts are your spiritual agreements. They serve as a framework for guiding your experiences here on earth. The primary contract is that one that you make with God within you. The divine agreement spells out your truest purpose and your passion. It consists of the impulses and inclinations of your higher nature and your direction and that direct you towards the fulfillment of your soul's intention. The other types of spiritual contracts is known as what it was saying here, soul friend. The spiritual concept describes the bonding of two souls who share a unique connection. We all have soul friends and soul mates. When we meet a soul friend, we always know by recognizing them. So what I was saying is like you either know them by, hey, I know you before, or you're like, I wish I didn't know you. I don't want to know you. So it was saying in order to abide by your sacred contracts, you want to follow these steps. Appreciate your life. When you look at your life without gratitude, you can't appreciate how it's all trying to come together to get you to the next place. Because really everything connects. Now you might be like, I hate where I am right now. Well, again, then we talk about that, but it's still helping you get to the next place because you have to kind of decode why you don't like what's going on in your life in order to change it. And that changes the dynamic of the energy. Realize you are special, that every life, especially your own, has something special to offer. And your real job is to figure that out. Let your spirit resolve issues with adversary. If you can see how the person has helped you grow, you can learn about yourself and discover why you were meant to know that person to begin with. Let it sink in. You will know when you're in a sacred contract with another person. You'll feel the energy between you, whether it's I know you or I don't want to know you, like I was saying. And then it says lack of understanding and direction can lead to emotional stress, depression, illness. So you always want to know yourself. So there's a little exercise here, and you guys will get the paperwork. I just was saying I need to like make sure that it's the spelling and everything because run it through spell check because my spelling is horrible. But I will send you these because there's an exercise here that is start with the word always, and in I always feel blank or I always do blank, meaning like when you always feel a certain way, what do you always do? Anytime you find an always in your life, there's an archetype there. We're going to learn about the archetypes today because I want you to be able to recognize the archetypes within yourself as well as the archetypes within other people. That's going to help both of you. You want to try the exercise in your journal and to explore how you can make the archetype work for you. That's why, again, I'll be sending you these. Find a path of appreciation. If you don't appreciate what you have in life right now, what is it? You will never realize your purpose. So without appreciation, you will never become strong enough to respect yourself. So I just wanted to say also, there's a lot about epigenetics. I don't know, have you guys ever heard of epigenetics?
I have,
I
yeah.
have. Yep, I have.
Okay, good, because it's like it talks about like how trauma really like trauma has the resounding effect in ways that aren't always visible and how it affects our cells and the inheritance really how epigenetics and science of inheritance is young but the implications of passing on the consequences of our traumatic experiences to our children are enormous. Trauma is not just an experience that occurs and remains in the past, it will be ongoing way trauma but would alter the very contents of our experiences, our mental health, and how our lives relate to the legacy of our ancestors. So, spiritual relationships, connections. So, I was saying like that there are 5 different types of soul relationships. There's the twin flame connection, there's the karmic relationship, and then there's the student teacher dynamic, they're all like, again, very strong and passion. Questions,
No, I
Jim?
was gonna say I kind of always thought that the twin flame slash soulmate was a mumbo jumbo.
Yeah.
I mean, I know karmic relationships. Yes, I agree with that, but I've had a hard time understanding this twin flame slash soulmate
Yeah.
until these last 2 years.
Yeah. Hey, right, because you lived it.
But but even then, because in the past I never felt even the thought process of any of that until that pain and the heartbreak was deep. But even then, it's still kind of like, isn't that interrelated into karmic anyways?
Well, it is karmic, but the difference is, and I did a fabulous one today. So, like,
Uh-huh.
it was a beautiful twin flame soulmate that explained everything in
Oh,
the video and the live stream. But I'm going to explain it
okay.
here too, because it's like, but it was a really beautiful, like,
I'll
story.
have to look at it.
Yeah, because it was like, in the beginning, it was like, oh shit, the person was acting like a real asshole. Like, I mean, just playing games was self-righteous, was mass illusions, playing games, didn't know what they wanted, sat on the fence, all of it. And then, like, all of a sudden, the cards were like, like I pulled the inner child cards. Like, why did you attract this? What are you supposed to gain from this person? Why would spirit bring this
Hmm.
asshole into your life? And I pulled source. I pulled like a bunch of cards that were spiritual, like in the inner child deck. Okay,
Uh-huh.
one was Source and one was Inner Authority. And then the
Oh.
other one was which I was like, because I was like annoyed, and then it was like it was like, what are you talking about? And then I think one was water, so it was like flow, and then or I think, and then I can't remember the other ones, but nevertheless, it was like, oh, friendship was one of them, and I was like, the first card I was friendship, and I was like, friendship. I was like, what the fuck is that? I was like, and then the other one, I was like, source, friendship, inner authority. And I was like, oh, I was like, these are your gifts. These are like, because all shadows are not, all the shadows are don't cover just wounds, but sometimes gifts or sometimes things, and sometimes things that we don't even
Mm.
consider as gifts. So I'm like, well, I said, well, what the fuck is that? I said, that's bullshit. I said, they're gonna, why be a friend to this person? I said, okay, we have to use the spiritual cards now. Because I said, I don't really understand. I said, that doesn't make sense. And everything was about let's see, I don't, because it was like the purpose is to raise the vibration to unconditional love. We need to wait to divine time. So I said, well, the divine has, this was one, the divine has like waiting for divine timing. So I said spirit has a hand. And so first it was, I think you're beautiful inside and out. I see the light that radiates inside of you. So first it's like the person sees the character because they're not in a good place. They're not happy. Because finally you walked away, you cut your energy. The person has compared you to everyone, has done everything. They're already like, okay. And they're like, they see and they still have that connection because if it's real twin flame, soulmate, there's unconditional love. Even if the person was an asshole to you, you're like, I still have feelings for this person. And it's like, and it doesn't make sense because, and I know that it doesn't make sense. That's why it's frustrating, but it's just as frustrating to the other person. Now, the other person, that soulmate twin flames are like, okay, like everywhere where you have a gift your twin flame has a wound. So this is why they're considered your other half. Because where you have gifts,
Mm.
they have wounds, and where you have wounds, they have gifts. And it's because, but you both grew up in the same type of trauma. You both experienced the same trauma where parent that made them feel inadequate, made them not feel loved, made them feel abandoned, whatever the lesson was. But one learned how to deal with it very right-brained, which is intuitive, creative, not grounded, not structured. Again, playing, imagination, being a friend, having lots of friends. That was me. Like I'm using myself as an example. And then the twin that is connected doesn't like people at all, doesn't get along with people at all, doesn't have any friends. They're a bookworm. They're a bookworm. They're very logical and methodical and left-brained, and they tend to. So what God says is they're very masculine energy, and you're very feminine energy because creative energy. But I'm both. and you are in balance because you're lacking masculine energy, and you're like, which is making you not be able to make money. You're lacking in that, or you're lacking in a connection to the physical body. You feel inadequate in your body. You again, so whatever the imbalances are, your twin has is your other half, because they bring that to the table, and there's such love and passion, but there's also a fine line between love and hate. And so, and the love is so deep that if there's in there, and both parties also have major intimacy issues, because parents parents like from a very young age showed them not to trust. So the intimacy is not about sex, it's about trust, and it's about letting someone in. So what happens is that that person now is in the relationship with you, and they feel the depth of it, and they can't control it, and then they get in their own way. They react and they sabotage the relationship. So in the beginning, they there's a runner and a chaser, until that finally that chaser gets fucking tired and is like, I'm not playing this game anymore. I can't physically do it anymore. I don't care. And the spirit says, thank fucking God. Because it's like we were waiting for you to like love yourself enough to like do it, where then that cocky person takes a long time to come off their high horse, to be like, because of how much you showed them you already love them. So they're like, I didn't think I needed to do anything to fix this. So then finally a lot of time goes by, and they're dating other people, and they're talking to other people, and they're comparing you to other people. And then like, meanwhile, like they're sabotaging the connection.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happens is that finally like that twin walks away, and is like, and when that walks away, finally really walks away, it's like, and they eventually meet somebody else. That's always when the person comes back. And so the reason why is because spirit says, well, that person has too much masculine energy, remember. And that's the fire energy. Even like again, that even if it's a girl, it's like there's a runner and there's a chaser. So that person, you had to integrate more masculine energy, which is pretty much, I don't give a fuck. I'm out. I'm like not, and I'm gonna take care of me now. Where that person now has to integrate more feminine energy. If they want to come back, they have to surrender their ego. And spirit says, I am unconditional love. The twin flame soulmate relationship, there is unconditional love. Both parties can't control it. However, both parties have the same wound. They don't respond. It doesn't mean that they play out. They have different attachment styles with the same wound, because of how they learned how to navigate the trauma in childhood. So, and it's the parts that they played. So it's almost like when you almost let go, finally let go. But what it is that for the person, it's like they're like, I see your character, I see your light, I see like the your soul. It's again, you feel like home. And then what came out was, I often feel abandoned because people left me. So it brought back like to the root of this person's problem. Why? Like, because what does the twin flame soulmate relationship? God doesn't really care whether or not you two are together. What God cares about is whether you learn the lesson, whether that person learns the lesson, because you're just supposed to evolve back to unconditional love. That's a lesson that you need to learn, but you have free will to choose whether you're going to be with them or not. So what comes back around normally is that the twin flame like is like now is look that was cocky is now surrendering their ego, because there's still passion, and there was a lot of hearts are connected. Take a moment to feel it, like again, meaning get out of your own way. When you can both can get back to that place of just feeling, there's that ESP connection through the heart and mind that doesn't go away. What happens is there's abandonment though, still, because of what was done in childhood. And so But what makes a twin flame relationship is like I daydream about you, and sometimes it's sexual, and sometimes it's, in the future, these were all cards there. So it's like, what's the catalyst? Well, obviously, when you like a person, it's the attraction. It's like I'm attracted to you. That's otherwise the person wouldn't move, right? So there's that unconditional love where you're um making that person think about you. But what the real kicker was for this was something like, I was like, what the card that came out was like humanitarian. Well, it was like, oh, okay. So then it was like, okay, how does a soulmate twin flame relationship find balance? And that's by working together, doing something together. Because what are they learning? They're learning all the higher levels of consciousness, which is for unconditional love. So forgiveness, self-sacrifice, compassion. And that's not easy because none of that was done to you. And none of that was, you weren't raised with compassion. You weren't raised with forgiveness. You weren't raised, and neither was this person. So Spirit's saying, I'm going to make you heal. But only when the two people are ready. Twin flame soulmate relationship, that they can run and chase for years. I mean, 6, 7 years. I mean, I was in a soulmate twin flame relationship. And so, but then when it's good, when it's balanced, it's really good. It's like it's the best that it could be. However, you have to also look and see, like, again, what you're dealing with. And if you're dealing with somebody that, if you're not 100% healed, you wouldn't be able, I'm not even saying 100% healed. No one's 100% healed. If you haven't done any healing work and you've been good in this relationship, it wouldn't work. That's why it's too intense, because no one volunteers. And that's really what it was. I'm afraid of this relationship is too good to be true. And it was all the abandonment issues. And that's what I kept getting, where it was like, oh, so what are you supposed to do? And when Spirit said friendship, I was like, well, that's kind of fucked up. And Spirit says, no, it's not. It's like, it's balance. It's like, how are you guys going to start in a full-fledged, passionate relationship when you don't even know how to be friends with each other? There's no trust. You have to start in the beginning because you weren't taught proper. And so, and that will train your person to learn how to emotionally give you. So they're not going to want to do that, by the way, because they're going to want to just run right into like that passion. But again, unconditional love will make them, like, again, deal with the fact that they're not going to get that. The woman needs to, again, have other passions in their life, or the man, if they're dealing with somebody that has that type of energy, where you counteract that. Because it's like, and you always know, like, when you're dealing with somebody that's more like focused on the physical instead of the emotional. And that's the thing, you would have to, again, 80, make that person emotional, and you would again have to get more masculine energy, which that's again more about that. But I feel like the twin flame, only difference between twin flame and karmic relationship is, the karmic relationship is you have a person that does not want to evolve. They're not ready to do any healing work. They haven't done any healing work. They're not interested. The twin flame relationship is, I want to do the healing work. And then the other person says, I want to do the healing work. And God says, okay, we got 80 over there that's broken. She's got like no arm, a leg, and something else. And then we're gonna bring her person over here, and he's missing like a head and something else. And it's like, and we gotta, and and so you got two broken people here. It's like, but the unconditional love is what makes it, is what the person's like, I want to make it work. It's like, because so it doesn't mean that it's not on, off, on, off. It kind of looks like a light switch in the beginning, on, off, block, unblock, block, unblock, because there's so much passion and like, and frustration. And that then God says, yeah, but understand when that energy is balanced, that's the fire energy, the passion that's manifesting, that's the transmutation energy. That's the an alchemy, that's the only it's that's all the pent up pain from childhood, all the pent up anger of from again those experiences. Do you think that that just went away? No, it didn't. We know that it didn't because we saw you the other day and you lost your temper. So we know that that energy is still there, 80. So don't pretend that it's not, you know? And you're like, and it's like, and he has a worse temper than you do. So understand, like that hole in the wall just didn't get there the other day. It's that person is so it's again not but that fire energy, if it becomes balanced, is able to like create, it's pure creative energy. It's like, but that's the thing. It's like getting the energy to be like that. But it's where both parties just finally give up and come to a place of surrender. Like, I don't even fucking care anymore. And that's like really what it is. And it takes a long time because remember, if you grew up in an environment that was like this, I have to protect myself. I don't trust anybody. You were taught, I'm never going to let go. I'm never going to let go. I'm never going to trust. I'm never going to, you have to prove to me, you have to bend to my way. You have to, and God says, like, you guys were both taught that. That's how you were dealt with. That's what you learned from your mother, how your mother treated your father. That's how you learned. And it didn't get them good results. And now you're doing the same thing. And now this person's doing the same exact thing. So if the twin flame soulmate relationship is a karmic, it doesn't, it means that like just with the karmic doesn't want to evolve and it would go into a trauma bond relationship, which is a false twin flame relationship, where now you're stuck in a karmic contract. And a karmic contract is a battle or a situation that you either have consciously or unconsciously signed up for it. Like it could come from your ancestors, again, watching. Like I watched my mother and my father be in a trauma bond relationship. So it's really, I have to be careful who I would wind up with because my mother was the caregiver. She was the one that like didn't emotionally get what she needed because my father was the alcoholic. He was the alcoholic, the not non-available. It didn't mean that he didn't love her. He did love her. He loved the best way he knew how. But it's still frustrating when you have one person doing all the work, always showing up. And
Mhm.
father got sick 9 times with cancer. So we can understand why my mother was stuck in that karmic care because she was taking care of him. So that's what a karmic contract is. It's like you're paying for like somebody else because you don't love yourself enough. And because my mother didn't love herself enough, she loved my father more than she loved.
Oh, that makes sense. That what you just said, that's what I needed to hear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that. So I knew
Yeah. That. Yeah. Okay.
that's the karmic
Yeah.
contract. But it's when you're bound to like an experience. So it's
Mhm.
not even the person, it's what the person has
Mhm.
done. You know,
Mhm.
like you don't want to inherit somebody else's shit because it's like people that like are with people that are in and out of jail, for instance, and
Mhm.
now everybody's looking at them as if they're like associated, or you know what I mean? It's like sometimes
Mhm.
you have to let the person get the karmic reap the karma.
Mhm.
So now, an archetype is defined as an origin pattern or model from which all things of the same kind are copied or on which they are based. So can they refer to symbols, particularly in the realm of art and literature? So archetypes create immediate sense of familiarity, even in unfamiliar story, because they're people that we've met time and time again. So an archetype can be described as a even makes up your personality. It helps you live your life to the fullest. Okay, let's see. So there's the child, and this belongs to be lighthearted, innocent, and expectant of the wonders of the world tomorrow, has a playful quality at times, and can bring out the parental qualities in others to communicate, will retreat after a disagreement. So then there's the victim, does not take responsibility for her own well-being or happiness, her or his, can bring out the needs in you to develop self-esteem, stand up and take care of oneself. Then there's the saboteur, which runs away from the opportunities and the sacred contracts that can lead to happiness. It's right. And sometimes you have a twin flame that has that, right? The saboteur is frightened of life and good things, so turns away from them, almost like they're non-deserving of it. Then there's the prostitute that helps people face the parts of themselves that will negotiate their self-worth, like gives herself away too much to gain pleasure that doesn't contribute to well-being. And then how archetypes give meaning to your life, like they guide you. I don't need to read you that. But then there's also like the divine child, the hero, the precious child. There's a bunch of different ones, but I took a few that I was like, there's like for men, there's the weak prince. There's the weak prince. There's the coward. There's the dummy. There's the dreamer. And so the dreamer's the mama's boy. The dummy is the know-it-all trickster. The grandstand bully is the coward. And the high chair tyrant is the weak prince. And then there's 7 female archetypes that are based on like Greek goddesses, pretty much. And there's the mother, there's the queen, the lover, the maiden, the huntress, the wise woman, the mystic. So I'm not going to read all of them because, like I said, but because I'm going to give you guys them. And so each one does like where everyone plays a part. So you know, like the mother one is really something that we tend to see over and over again with women, the nurturer, the giver, and the give it away. I would even say like the prostitute isn't even someone that gives it all away for sex. They just give everything away, you know? So it's to be able to recognize like when you're in a relationship with somebody that has an archetype that, you know, it would trigger yours. Like obviously someone that acts like the king, you know, it's someone that has a big ego. Now, I also want to talk about the 11 karmic relationship stages, like how you can know whether or not you're in a karmic relationship. And like I said before, the difference between the karmic soulmate, past life karmic mate, and the soulmate is that every single soul relationship, no matter what it is teaching you. But what Jason asked before, he said, the karmics purposely do they purposely ruin your life's thing? And it's like, no, they don't purposely ruin your life, like or ruin opportunities in your life. However, the devil is always watching, right? There's a battle going on for your soul per se, and that's between good and evil. And so when we are coming from this place of unconditional love within ourselves, where we know what we are deserving of, and when we're putting our energy and we're really pouring it into ourselves to become ourselves unapologetically, well, then guess what? It's like when you're connected to a karmic mate, you're actually protecting yourself because that karmic isn't going to come in because they already know you're giving more to yourself than they're willing to give you. That's number one. So sometimes you're weeding them out. However, it's also like a karmic mate can sometimes come into your life during certain times of your life because they think it's going to be easier, or again, they might see something's going on in your life and they want to be a part of it. it's again like, so it is like you do have to be careful with karmics because again, when you are in a high vibration and when things are happening, you're going to attract everything to you. So people say, why do those people always come to me? Those people go to anybody. But if you don't love yourself and you don't hold a high enough vibration for yourself, if you don't want enough for yourself, then you're going to be too nice and too kind. And this is how Jason and I started our conversation off today. It was about being in a relationship where people tend to think that you're a pushover because you're spiritual and you're nice and you have empathy, where like where and also that healing doesn't feel good. Like I was saying, I'm going through this thing right now where doing the right thing, like I have to cut people off from my past. And I don't want to have them in my life, but I know they're going to try and make me feel bad. And as an empath, I would feel bad because I would feel what they want, not what I want. And Spirit says, healing doesn't feel good. Remember, you were taught to give everything away. Now that you're standing up for yourself, people have a problem with that because it's like, no, we don't like this version. We like the other version where we got everything. Well, that was the unhealed version. This is the new improved version, and people don't like that version, you know? I've been with my husband a long time, and then so it's again on that journey. But we come to a time where we have to let go of what no longer serves and supports. And if you weren't in my corner, then you're not going to be in it for the upcoming. And that's, again, we'll feel bad and we'll feel wrong because you're taught to be a caregiver, to be, but those people coming back, it's not a coincidence. Spirit says it's not a coincidence that you get the opportunity the same time around the fact of like a few months after your husband dies, when you have to deal with these people. So again, so they're karmic people. It's again that would come in and try to sabotage the opportunity just because again, misery loves company, but they can't. Only you can give it up, and that's if I didn't do what I needed to do. And really, Spirit says, but you were warned, so everything was set up. And that's the whole moral to the story, that a karmic person doesn't mean that you always have to negatively inherit the karmic retribution. Understand there's many different realities that play out at one time. What you choose to do might mean that karmic now, they're the ones that get to eat the karmic retribution. You may say, well, I don't really feel like me not being in their life. I don't think that they care. Well, eventually they would care. And that might not be today or tomorrow, but believe me, the universe would conspire to say, oh, did you think that person was so much better than this person? Because they had a nicer, more money or a better car or whatever it was. Well, guess what? Now this person did this to you. And now you have something to compare yourself. Now your perception is in a whole other place. Karmic retribution.
Okay,
Guys,
so
8:30. I just want you guys to know I'm going to be winding down at 9 o'clock just because I can't stay on until 11 o'clock, You know, just want to know, but I will give everybody the paperwork,
okay.
it's too, like just because like I'm noticing people coming on and I'm like, I'm like I wish I
Oh,
could stay on all night, but Shala, where were you? So that karmic retribution is that. It's like,
but okay, so back to that point real quick. So if you're in a relationship, twin mate, twin soulmate, whatever, and then it becomes a situation ship, that's when that line of like, I'm taking on more karma because I'm not right. That's
right,
what you mean.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's because that's the thing. And
I'm taking on that person's karma because they're not doing the work, but I'm still in this situationship. So that's what you mean about that's the difference, or that's when you have to choose, what's
well,
better,
what
which is
happened,
not.
Well, what that person is trying to do is say, well, I want you to, like, I want my cake and eat it
Mhm.
too. It's like I
Right,
do want you, but they don't want to do the changing. And the bottom line is, if you stay in that, it keeps you in a low vibration because
right,
like I'm not really happy with this agreement. And so
right,
I know that I'm deserving of more. And
right.
so that's, and that's why I'm saying, and like there's stages, like that there's 11 actual stages of karmic relationship.
Oh, yeah.
And the first one is the gut feeling. The first stage of a karmic relationship is a feeling in the gut, like it might feel like a dream or intuition that you will meet someone significant, but it's also like that gut feeling, like a lot of times that we don't listen when something's off. If it's a negative relationship, you
Mhm.
know, but there's also this other type of, which is just, it's a good, like a familiarity, I should say. Since karmic relationships are based on knowing this person from a past life, you may be able to tell when you will meet them, which may be the first of the many karmic relationship stages. So then there's the coincidence. You're likely to meet someone with a karmic bond, rather unusual. A coincidence or a chance may lead you to them, and you may instantly gravitate towards them. This could be the second stage. Now, then there's the meeting where your karmic relationship would happen due to chance, but you won't feel like you are meeting them for the first time, even though you meet your karmic partner like for the first time. You will have a sense of like this karmic attraction, like in the deep feelings. And the deep feelings are really the fourth stage. At the fourth stage of a karmic relationship, you will start to feel deep feelings for each other. Intense love and passion are characteristics of the karmic relationship. And you will know that your partner also feels the same way for you, again through that ESP connection. And then it is just not enough. Now that you both have strong feelings for each other, you will feel like no amount of time is enough to spend with them. You cannot get enough of them. You feel this erotic love, and then things change. The sixth stage of a karmic relationship is when things start to change. This is when you start to feel highs and lows of emotions of the karmic relationship, because you start to see them begin to change. So even though you may still love the person, you start to feel things like anger, disgust, even hate for them at this stage, because again, they're not respecting you. And then the seventh pattern is to repeat themselves. At the seventh of the 10 relationship stages, you see a repetition of patterns. You feel like your life is falling apart with your relationship, and other parts of your life are going downhill. So however you feel like you have been in a similar situation before, this is also a characteristic of karmic relationship. But this is where you start resolving a karmic relationship. Now, there's the eighth, the realization. At this level, the karmic relationship, you realize that this is not how things should be. You finally decide to do something about it. At this stage, you are giving a chance to break free from the pattern and finally move on. And that's, like you said, about coming to a place of surrender.
Mhm.
Not, and if it's a real twin flame soulmate relationship, what you'll see is divine time happen where the person's like, I want to do the work, and they come back differently. But that's usually because they've gone through a dark night of the soul. There's a lot of other things that take place. If a person has a really big ego, really big, it's like people just don't change. It's a lot of things. So the ninth stage is action. Very few people can reach the stage of karmic relationship where they take action to improve things. Even though the relationship is not going okay, you feel a sense of calm and acceptance. You decide to take action to make things better for you. It may require a lot of willpower to break the cycle of the karmic relationship and do things differently and getting out, like where it's like people getting out, which feels like that roller coaster of emotions. and they can make you feel like your highs and lows so much that you finally accept that you cannot be in the cycle forever, or where people tend to this, where they can get to that 10 stage and then all of a sudden wind up back in that relationship. And it's like, oh no. It's like, because it's this is the final stage of the karmic relationship where you decide to get out. Letting go and moving on from any relationship is difficult, especially in these. And then obviously the last stage, which is just healing and growth. After exiting a karmic relationship, it involves a lot of healing and growth, which is all about reflection and doing shadow work so that you can really like transform the what you've gone through, to learn why you've gone through why you attracted that person. Most people don't do this. They either don't get out, they just accept and stay in that relationship, or they finally get to a point where they're like, I don't really want to be in it. But there are signs, and usually right from the beginning, your gut is like, I'm feeling uneasy about this. Even if now, because soulmate, twin flame, soulmate, past life karmic mate feel so much the same way. Really, to be honest with you, the only thing is time. And the truth of the matter is, where no one will tell you this, in the beginning, there's that runner and that there's the chaser, but that person will do everything to try to manipulate you, to try to take you down, to try, because it's like they want things their way, because the relationship is that deep. So that's why it's like you really have to emotionally make sure that you take care of yourself during this time. Otherwise, like, you won't win. And this is what the person like, and what you're dealing with has done this many times to people, just not in twin flame relationships. So they're pretty cocky about the way that they deal with it. Like, I pretty much know what you could do, because you're dealing with very masculine ego energy, which is strategic, which is why you have to be like 10 steps ahead, like emotionally. And that's really what you're like, but I'm handicapped in this area. And Spirit says, well, you're gonna learn quick.
Yeah, I'm taking up all the class, so I'm gonna just like held back and let everybody. Somebody else had a question or something.
Yeah, but that's really what it was. Yeah. So I was saying, what questions do you guys have? Anyone have one talking about their
I
trigger?
do. I do. Can you
It's,
hear me?
I can hear you,
Yes.
Stella. You look stressed, girl.
I'm gonna try not to cry tonight.
Mm.
Um, so I ended up seeing my wife yesterday after 8 months. And I was going back and forth, because I'm in the middle of a divorce. And I think I realized that, and it's ironic how you talk about the different stages, because I feel like, and I'm gonna really try not to cry, but I feel like, and I'm still with her right now, but I feel like I took 2 steps forward and like 10 steps back. Um, and I feel like I took 2 steps forward. I was doing really, really well. Since I started your shadow work, but I feel like I've taken 10 steps back.
No, I don't think that you took it. You probably feel like you did, because on an emotional level, like you feel that way because there's still feelings there. I think that you thought that there wasn't going to be feelings there anymore because you got stronger. And that doesn't mean that you still don't have feelings. I think that you didn't take 10 steps back, because it's not like, I mean, you're not back together with her, you know what I mean? It's like you're still like holding strong, you're just working through the process.
Yeah, I wish I didn't see her. Um, I feel like that mask um is worse now than it was when she first left 8 months ago. She's like really cocky and arrogant, and
Right, because that's because again, you like filed for divorce, you're going through it, she's not really happy about it. I don't care what you say about it, saying like, oh yeah, we're gonna work it out, and she still wants to be, yeah, that's a moody roller coaster that she's on.
it
Because
is.
it's like, because you're taking your power back. And that's something that is, again, your like you're challenging her reality, and her reality was at one time that you and her were going to be together, and you're like the strong person in it. You're the person, in spite of her personality being stronger than yours, you're the person that has your shit together. You're the stronger person. And so now you're taking that away from her, and she didn't have that before, so she's angry because she's like, come on already. It's like I said, I'm sorry already. It's like,
Right.
right, right. And it's like, yeah, and where it's like, but you can't say right. And this goes back to what like what I was saying, and what Jason came on earlier, like bit before, like when it started, and it was saying like we get taken advantage of because we tend to give in, because it's like, and the thing is, you're not giving in this time. So you're going to get cocky assholes. And so I remember asking Spirit this, because I said, I'm dealing with the same thing right now with my husband's family. I said, which I knew was coming anyway. And I asked Spirit, how do I deal with them? And Spirit says be a little arrogant. Be a little bit arrogant. And it's like, I don't even know how to be arrogant. That's the whole thing. It's like it feels awkward. And Spirit says, exactly. It's like, but really, how do you come back at that? It's again, you have to come across like that's your problem. It's like, but there's consequences. So it's like you're not caving. So it's like, I'm gonna try and bully you to cave.
Yeah.
And why emotionally you have to make sure that you have other things. Otherwise, you won't be strong enough. It's like, because you have to go through, you have to realize this is the phase she's going to have to go through. And it's going to be a few years. It won't be like, oh, only a few months. Like she'll be in your life, come and try to do it in and out for a few months, but the majority, Shayla, she's eventually not going to be in your life for about 2 to 3 years, for a very long time, and not come back, because it's it's this is the closest thing to a family that she's ever had. So it's like it's
She used to say that.
right. So you have to realize it's like, again, the abandonment, but you have to do it because, first of all, you're someone that would be like, like we dated a long time ago, but we're not dating now, but she's like my best friend. She's like my sister. She's like my this, she's like my that. You would make it like that. She would still be a part of your family, just not this way, because this is not what you want in a relationship. Because it's too attachment style. It's one that puts you in a place of disempowerment in order to elevate her, because she doesn't want to do the work. But so that's why in the relationship it's gotten to this point where you're like, well, I have no choice. There's the door. Like it's like I have no choice, but it's like this is where it is, and that person's gonna have to do the healing. And that's when person didn't volunteer to do the healing, they're gonna get mad. And they're going to say, okay, where's the blame going? Okay, it's you. And it's you because everything was going fine when you were a doormat. Why can't we just have things go back to the way that they were? They were working so great. And then you say they weren't working great because I wasn't happy. I wasn't being respected. I wasn't being, and that it's again, oh, you have to think about me. That is like in a way that you didn't want to think about me. You were too busy worried about your own pain, your own worry, your own.
Yes.
So it's in that, it's like, no, it's like now you have to think about me. And I've forced you to do it because that love is still there. And that's why it hurts. And that's why, but on this, the spirit says it's about you learning to love yourself. It's again, I choose me. It's like, and this person learning how to be compassionate and not take advantage and understanding that they didn't know what love was before they had it. So you don't know what you got till it's gone. So it is going to hurt. And it's not going to be a, I'm coming back tomorrow type thing. And that, but the separation will do you good. It's like, and that's really what it comes down to. It's like, it's like, it's a part that you have to go through, but it's understanding that that person, it's the acceptance. It's like when you grieve, when someone dies, you get mad too. It's like, it's all of it. And so, like I said, it's like, I didn't want to be, I didn't want to have to do this. And the spirit says, well, that's what it is. It's, people have to do the work. Otherwise, what you know is you would wind up being miserable in the long run. And you don't
I,
want.
yeah, I am so drained, like from being around her in the last 24 hours. And then the people that she's around, they're so low vibrational. Like I'm exhausted, and it's only been 24 hours. And I'm just like, I'm tired. Like, this is too much for me. Like, I've been good at home. I'm just like, these low vibrational ass people, sorry, these low vibrational people, it's it's like they suck the life out of me today. They suck the
But then
complete utter life.
that's when you should have said, I'm gonna go, like 10 minutes
Yeah,
or 15 minutes, meaning to get
yeah,
that in because that's, you going along with it and you don't really want to fake the funk, but it's again, you're practicing your own individuality and that own individuality, and that's part of it too, Shayla. It's like it's okay to be in a relationship with someone and be like, you know what, I've had it. It's like 15, 20 minutes in. I'm not liking one of your friends. I don't have to sit and entertain that. It's about being your own, again, boundary. This is me. It's growing up in an environment where maybe you didn't do that enough, where it's like, this is what my
yeah,
needs are. This is what my needs are. I feel like you 280, this is what my needs are. It's like, everybody, this is what I need to do this. And people are not going to like that. You know?
they call me bougie. I'm like, how am I bougie?
No,
But
well,
okay.
that's the thing. They're gonna make it like you're bougie in order to compensate for the fact of I'm a low vibration. So of course, I see you as bougie because you have standards and you're not gonna let me
Mhm.
treat you how whatever. So again, that stuff might have used to work a long time ago where you'd be like, well, I'm not gonna say anything then, or I'm going to try and accommodate. And then now you're like, nah, I'm not going to do that, and that, so again, expect to get resistance. Always expect to get resistance where, and it's like, and you don't let it affect you. You keep on moving through it. You keep on working through it. You know what I mean? It's like, because they can't do anything to you. They can only, but that's what that wife has to have new people. It's like, what am I going to leave and be by myself? So guess what? People, you can't just meet friends overnight. Real relationships take time. And so it was almost like she's like, well, I'll show you. I went and I got a life too. meet my friends and you're like, okay, so you know what I mean? Where'd you pick up these people, Walmart?
Or the trash can.
You know, yeah. But did you ever see those people on TikTok or on Instagram that are in Walmart and they're one's on top of like and they're pouring milk over them, the other person's
Yeah.
screaming, and the other person's going, I got one there. And they're like that. Like it's like all those crazy people. It's like where'd you get these people from? You know, I've never seen people like that before. I'm like, and they're real people like that. It's like, I went really but that's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, people of worth are busy with their day. They have things that they do, you know, they go to work, they have friends, they have things that they entertain themselves with. And so it's like the land of misfits, and the person's trying to again be like, I have a life too, because it's like I got to come back with some sort of ammunition. And it's you know, I'm sorry, I picture like a person like people like really like homeless people, and there's nothing wrong with them, but they're missing teeth, and you know, just like you really just pulled these people off the street, you know what I mean? Where it's like it's maybe they have teeth, but their soul looks like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's why I'm laughing, because it's like if you really got to see what these people look like on the outside, you know, that's what they would look like on the outside, because they're soulless. Because what makes you up during the day is where you put your time, your energy, your focus, your money, your limited resources. It's like how you're being the day, and that's why you're saying that they will low vibe, but they don't understand it because they're in survival. So it's like, and it's just going to show you that sometimes you're like, wow, I've really evolved.
Yeah. So was this part of my process? Just can I confirm? Because
Yeah,
I'm just like,
This,
okay.
this is part of the process when you can be like, because it's almost like, how was I in a relationship with this person that could go back and be like with somebody like that? Didn't they learn anything from me? Yeah, they did, but the problem is they refuse to evolve to your vibration. So it's easier for them to demote themselves. I feel like Tatiana had somebody that did that. You know, it's like, oh, you know, this is too difficult. I'm gonna demote myself. And it's like, the fuck is that? And it's like, I don't love myself enough. That's all
Mhm.
that is. It's a lot of work. You might not accept me, you know, and it's like, no, well, you have to show up for yourself. And part of that is it's a little bit of addictive behavior. It's like it's I want it now. So it's part of it's like the coping mechanisms of how that person had to learn how to navigate their life and survive. So that's what the issue is. It's like, can I really do that? And it's like
Right.
not to your standards. And that's what you know. You're like, not really to my standards. I always have to fix it. But then there's resentment for that too. So at this point, you can love someone unconditionally, but not unless they're willing to actually do the work. And this is part of her process, you know, because guess what? I don't really see her being like, I see your girlfriend really having a very short fuse now. And I see her turning around one day and really like turning around, like being in her building, being like, you know what, get the fuck out to some of those people, and them being like, what? And her being like, you heard me, get out. Like just like that. And you'd been like, and then you talking to her and her being like, oh, you finally like told that person? Yeah, like I was wondering when that was gonna happen, because they're gonna see it. She's gonna see it because she can't go backwards. It doesn't mean she's not gonna try though, because everybody tries because they're like, I don't really want to do the work. But then what happens is they go backwards, and then they're like, You can't go backwards because you know what I mean? It's like I just had flaming yawn and now you're making me eat like freaking Taco Bell. I could definitely see the difference, you know what I mean? I definitely like
Mhm.
the other was at a nice place. Like this is not, you know, that there's a real big difference here. And that's what it takes for that person because their ego then gets involved and the ego is like we're better than this. We can't have this. We need better than this. And that's why God gave us the ego. So that's like, but they needed to have something to compare to before, but it doesn't mean that they don't try to opt out. Usually 9 out of 10 are like, what's the easiest thing to do? You know, like, and spirit says that's a fail. Like, you know, and we're going to make sure that it shows up in their paycheck, you know, or we're going to make sure that it winds up in another way. And that makes them angry. And that's why, like I said, in order to stay in a relationship with someone on a higher vibration, they have to make that person lower their vibration. Tatiana,
Okay.
you got anything to say?
Uh, no. I am absorbing it all. This
Okay.
is yeah, it's good stuff. It's just I'm like, oh, okay. It's that aha moment of like, well, damn. All right.
Because that's
Well,
really what it is. Yeah, well, Jason, what do you have a question?
well, my question is, Shayla, I kind of went through the same thing with my ex. I feel it was very, very similar. And that last time I held out hope, like maybe something's going to be different this time. But I had already started the process of loving myself more and reparenting and all that, right? So I show up that way. And she feels it slipping through her fingers. And it seemed like she would be deliberately cruel because I'm sensitive to just see if I really still cared. Like getting me upset was like trying to bait me because it was kind of a rush for her to see that, oh,
Oh
I can
yeah.
still get under your skin. You must care. And it
Ooh,
took me
same.
a while to see that. And now it's like I'm over it. So, but it hurt.
Yeah,
It
I
hurt
think,
getting there.
yeah, when yeah, she's gonna be good is blocked. Um, she has, because I'm just like, I don't want to, and I'm gonna continue on with my divorce, and uh, mm-mm.
Well, that's
Just like you, I was holding out hope, but there's no hope.
well, it's what it is it's like that person is they're not gonna have hope with you staring at them. You know what they have to go through their process. And this is the process. And you can't, if you're smart, you won't sit there and watch it because it's again that person has to like really look at their behaviors, and that's not going to be an easy thing to do because they're going to be mainly mad at themselves because they're going to see a lot of how they sabotage the connection. But like I said, I don't really feel like I feel like it'll you guys will still be able to like repair the relationship eventually. But I told you last time we spoke, I felt like there was going to be a big gap. And it was like, but and you know, like you won't even want to be with that person eventually because it's
Hmm.
like I don't even, and you were holding yourself back, and you're gonna see I was really holding myself back, and that's at the end of the day, that's really what the lesson was. It was like the whole time, it's like you were kind of aiming low, but you met this person a while ago, so that's why you're not the same person. And
Yeah.
that's about your growth. And they did serve a purpose and and they did teach you. And there was a lot of unconditional love and there still is love. And that's why I think, like, and I said this to you before also, and I said, like, every time we talk, that you guys will eventually be able to be friends. It's just, not for a long time. And you say, well, what's going to happen in 10 years if this person shows up? Well, it's again, they don't have a family, they don't have life. That's why. So you will not be in the same place and holding on because you have many experiences. This person doesn't have any experiences. So you're their experience. That's why for them, the 10 years will only really feel like possibly 5 or 4, where you'll be like, it's been 10 fucking years, going on 11. Like, you haven't done anything. Like that's gonna be like, did you get up from that chair? That is it's like, and it's like, because that person is processing and healing, and it's again, they were not on your vibration, so they had to evolve up to that part. And believe me, they tried to go back to diving for the lower hanging fruit, like a lot of times, because it made them feel better. I mean, it's easier then, but then, the selection isn't really good. It's like shopping at, going from Bergdorf Goodman to like, you know, Kmart, it's like there's no selection, you know what I mean? And it's like I was used to the fanciness, like I didn't really need the little coffee drink while I was shopping, and I really didn't need the mint or to have someone ask me to, but I like those things, I mean, it's like now I got to push my own damn cart. Well, and there, it's a whole other different experience, and that's what the person has to actually live. That's why it's considered karmic. It's like you have to learn. It's like, and you're not going to learn unless you actually embody it, because you're not getting it. Your mind doesn't want to see 1 and 1 is 2, and we put them together. So we're going to have you actually live the experience. And then it's like, oh shit, you're in this experience. You're like, wait a minute, 1 and 1 is 2. And the experience says, you knew it all along. You were just pretending that you didn't. Like, I don't really like the fact that 1 and 1 is 2. I would rather it be 18. And Spirit says, yes, we know that's what you kept trying to do. You kept trying to make it 18, even though it was just that, and it's like trying to put the square peg in the circle hole. This is what you're dealing with. And it's like, but this is what I want you to be, and Spirit says, this is your potential. And Spirit says, if it's a real twin in time, and you might, but at that time, who knows when that time will be? It's like it takes a long time. And understand, yes, your twin,
What?
yeah, it's usually your twin is on a lower vibration, by the way, just so that you know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're on a lower vibration because it's God's way of being like, well, that person needs to rise. I'm not going to put 2 people on a higher vibration. That's why there's a runner and a chaser. And as I was saying in the beginning, when someone said, what's the difference between a soulmate and a twin flame, is again, like the soulmate, it's not that you're a half a person. It's that everywhere where you have a gift, they have a wound, and where they have, their gifts, you have wounds. So together, it's like you're one person. However, the way that you deal with life, your approach to life is different than theirs, and but the wounds are the same. You grew up in the same type of dynamic. You learn the same type of soul lessons. And the lesson could be, I wasn't good enough, or I didn't feel loved, or I felt abandoned, or I felt like I didn't fit in. Whatever it is, it's like kept you in a place of disempowerment. Again, 2 energies, love and fear, kept you in a place of fear. This person grew up the same way, though the way that they learned how to deal with it, their survival mechanisms would be to like study, read a book, and yours would be, oh, I hung out with friends, and I played, and played in my imagination, and I, escaped that way. And so Spirit says, yeah, and both are accurate, but now you're only navigating your life through that realm, and really there's shadows in these other areas of your life because again you learned how to survive the other way. So part of that is you're overcompensating, and again, and it's showing up as a lack of money, or it's showing up as a lack of feeling safe, or a lack of knowing who you are, or a lack because there's shadows, pieces are missing of you, fragmented pieces, which this is what we would call in shamanism, where it's like that trauma that you went through of I had to deal with it and this is the way that I dealt with it. That trauma is like I said, is still playing out. It's like what the survival mechanisms that helped you get through that situation now are going to hindrance you later on, and it's going to hindrance you again where you feel inadequate. Now I don't see enough money, or I don't see enough um like good relationships, or I see like there's things that are making my life not work. I feel like there's something wrong with me, and spirit says I don't make broken things. It's again, it goes back to what I was reading in the intro, which was about how karma, you know, and the sacred contracts. I'm going to read it again, Jason. So, like each of us are born with a sacred contract, a reason or a purpose for being alive. Your sacred contract is what you are meant to do during your lifetime. You can also have sacred contracts with other people and learn why you're meant to know them. Sacred contracts are your spiritual agreements. They serve as a framework for guidance, your experiences here on earth. The primary contract is the one that you make with God. The divine agreement spells out your truest purpose and your passion. And then what did I say? Well, everyone last week that was on last week, that they need to be working on this. If you're in this coaching program, that's the most important thing, because why are we doing it? Why are we coming here? We're coming here because I wanna see something. I want to see something in my life. I want to manifest something. I'm trying to manifest something. That's why you're here. And so Spirit says again, that soul's purpose. It consists of the impulses and the inclinations of your higher nature, the direct you towards the fulfillment of your soul's intention, and everyone has them. The other types of spiritual contracts is known as a soul friend. The spiritual concept describes the bonding of two souls who share a unique spiritual connection. We have soul friends and soul mates. When you meet a soul friend, you always recognize them. I'm going to send you these after I proofread them, because they're, like I said, I do the best that I can, but that wasn't my expertise. So there's a little exercise here, which is every part of you has its role, no matter how painful or joyful it may be. The exercise, you want to start with the word always, as in I always feel blank, or I always do blank. Anytime you find an always in your life, there's an archetype there. So we want to know what your archetypes are. And then there's the 7 signs for the soul karmic relationships, which again, I had read before, which is the ongoing conflict, unresolved emotional baggage, feeling stuck, noticing red flags, codependency, lack of communication. So these are those. And then I wanted to see, and then to like how karmic partners act like, again, the mirrors, which you guys pretty much know that. And and pretty much about, I wanted to make sure that I got to everything. And you guys know about the 7 stages of the karmic relationships. And I'm going to send you guys the archetypes, because each archetype is like, does something different, but like everyone plays like a role. And it's important, it's like knowing your attachment style. Like most people know their attachment style, but knowing your attachment style knows also like if you're an avoidant person, like let's just say that you'd have to overcompensate and learn how to give more, obviously. And and that person may have to like discover how they give more is by doing more with the person, on an emotional level. They don't necessarily have to, you know what I mean? Like it's for them to find their style in healing because everybody, one size doesn't fit all, is what I'm trying to get at. Now, does anyone have any questions about any of the material that was covered?
I
Anyone?
did the material, but I forgot it at home. It was really good though, to just sit and do this week because I made me a binder with all the papers that you emailed out, and it was really just to be able to just flip back through. It was really nice.
Yeah, that's what my guy that's going through the divorce right now, like he reaches out to me but from time to time and like I'll jump on with him like just because like I said he was going through the divorce and he said he made a binder too. He's like I made a binder and like it's good because one day if you need to and you want to teach coaching or do it, you can incorporate it within your own style. You know, I mean, the more that you use it, the more that you become good at it. I mean, that's how you embody the work. And I always say, like, it's like you live in a community. It's like it's give back. It's like do your part to give back. It'll lead to something. It can lead to a whole other, make a way where there is no way just for you because it's something that resonates that you're just letting spirit guide you. And really that should always be like the focal point because when you're giving yourself, what you'll notice is you don't need to ask anyone because now you're not giving the person that much attention and then they want to know why you're not giving them that much attention and what's fulfilling you so much. And if it's someone that's on a high vibration, they get it, you know what I mean, and they'll want to help you and contribute, find ways to contribute into your life in a different way opposed to someone that's toxic that will want to take you off your path or make it all about them.
Does your attachment is it possible for your attachment style to change after a situation or relationship, or does it always stay the same?
I think that I think what you'll notice is that you balance out. Your attachment style is still what it is, just like your love language is still going to be what it is. The only difference is that hey, my love language is I like to be bought gifts, you know. And so but the difference is I don't need my boyfriend to drive up with a new car for me. Like, you know, it's like, and I don't need it. Where at one time, because I grew up with parents that never acknowledged my birthday, never acknowledged certain things. It was like a weird punishment that like my mother used to do that was really important. But then once I married my husband like gave me all of that. I didn't really feel the need to have it. You know what I mean? It was almost like what and not even he didn't actually do it. That's a lie. I wanted him to do it for my birthday. It was the only thing. My husband was great, but he never celebrated my birthday or holidays because his ex-wife used to take it to the limit. Like she wouldn't just have her birthday for a day, she would have her birthday for like 5 months. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And her birthday would be like, oh, and here's another gift for me. And it would be like outlandish gifts. So he was so turned off by holidays and Christmas. And I grew up in that way. So it was a real trigger for me. Even though my husband was great, if it was the day after my birthday, he would buy me anything I wanted. You know what I mean? And he wasn't even like that. He'd be like, go into the bank and get it yourself. You know what I mean? It was like And not until I started to do it for myself did I don't need that anymore. However, um, like, is that still my love language? Well, it's like it doesn't need to be outlandish, again, because I didn't have it, it would need to be outlandish, you know what I mean? Where now it's like once I, did it for myself and was able to do it, it satisfied me where once you have it, you don't need it, you attract it. So that's not the problem. The issue is that it gets out of balance when you're wounded, whatever your attachment style is, whatever your love language is, whatever. It's like, again, everything becomes imbalanced because it's like you didn't have. It's like when I used to watch my dad, like with a bowl of ice cream, he'd be like, my mother would be like, Jesus Christ, Jack. Like he'd have a bowl like this big, and like he would do it like it was like half the carton of ice cream. And my mother would be like, fun. And then he would say, yeah, when I was a kid, like my mother would be doling out the dessert to everybody. And we'd be like, oh my God, look at that piece. And they would like be like, oh, that's your piece. And then my father would be like, yeah. And then we go, that little bit. It's it's like, like whatever it is, it's like, no, I need more, but that's the overcompensation where really then that means that you're feeling lack. You means that you're not feeling fulfilled. And that's a problem because that's what's going to manifest. So the more that you buy, the less that you actually have because
Right.
that's your attachment style. Like it's like because you're wounded where again, the whole point is that you don't need anything outside of you to be whole, to be balanced, and you learn that by actually what comes into your life and choosing you. And it's really hard. Like always see this post and it has Lucille Ball on it. And Lucille Ball's sitting there and she's like, and it says, the caption says, you really need to love yourself to make things happen for yourself because like it otherwise people will always try and like you'll wind up feeling bad or giving it away or letting someone into your life that you really shouldn't, like whether that's a karmic or is any type of karmic person, you know what I mean? So it's and that's hard to do because we don't live that way. We live in a place of like you need to forgive. But if that's it, I am gonna wind down because I have to run. I know I said 9, but see, yeah. See, I said 9 o'clock and I'm not but you already know that. I don't stick to my fucking word. But Spirit has no time. But if like I'm gonna send the paperwork and if anyone has questions or whatever, and I'm gonna send them right away and I'm gonna run them through spell check and you know, uh make sure that they're readable. And so you'll be able to have them. And if you guys have questions from them, then you can let me know. I may be doing a live stream tonight, but it won't be until 11. I'll be on all day tomorrow, though, however. So if you guys have questions or want to play along and pull some cards, please join me. Have your notification bells on. You guys get to have pre-residents over asking me questions because you guys are like part of my subscription people. Um, and any like you guys would say, hey, I want you to pull a few spreads on ancestral karma. I want you guys to suggest things like, or how do you break karmic contract? Or, you guys like can ask me questions like that. We'll do like some funny healing spreads like that, not just the regular, which is, unfortunately, there's only so many like patterns a person does, like sabotaging behaviors. You know what I mean? But understanding why is the whole point. why you attract that person. Who cares why that person has it? However, once you see why they have it, you can say, well, I don't need to take it personally. You're just messed up. No, I'm kidding. We
I
don't
mean, it's
say
the
that.
truth sometimes.
I know if the shoe fits, wear it. No, like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I mean, I'm
Choose
sure
from Walmart.
that, right.
The Walmart, that was a good one, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right out of that big bin. Remember, like, did your mother ever make you buy sneakers out of that big bin? It was like a big barrel, and you had
Oh
to
yeah.
find the other sneaker. Yeah,
You remember tracks?
yeah.
Track
Yes.
shoes?
Did you say spec? Did you say?
No, tracks.
Oh yeah.
Tracks. They were Kmart. Yeah, I had those.
Yeah.
Right.
I know what you're talking about.
I'm laughing only because my sister had a pair of specs. That's why it's like,
Oh,
and this guy turned around to her and he goes, specs, what kind of sneakers? And that man comes in and he's wearing pro specs.
Yeah.
And my sister goes, well, you're wearing pro specs. But the difference, and the guy like, but the difference, like, you have to find the other sneaker in the fucking bin, and you couldn't find it. It was
Oh
like,
my God. Yeah,
where's
that's
the
funny.
other seven? I can't find the other seven. And then, your mom would be like, do you need bras and underwear? Like everybody in Kmart knew. Like it was like everybody in Kmart knows I need new bras and underwear. Thanks, mom,
Yeah.
blue
Uh,
light special.
yeah. You weren't that
Mhm.
special. You would just sort of get the sneakers out of the garbage can.
No, no. I said blue light special.
Mhm.
Oh,
Remember that in Kmart?
yeah.
Yeah.
We're dating ourselves here.
But it was true, it was like all the parents were the same back then. It's like
Yeah.
not cool. And all kind of like you can buy your sneakers out of the bin. Now I feel like we went from one extreme to another extreme. We went from you don't get anything, don't ask for anything. You're like it's again cheapest is best to like kids, you can be whatever you want. You can be a Martian if you want, you know what I mean? You can eat like whatever, like eat whatever you want, do whatever you want. I mean, some kids are actually going to school and they're cats. Did you hear that? Yeah. I,
No.
like I associate as a cat. It's like
Oh.
Oh wow.
It's a
No, I
past
didn't.
life thing. They were a cat in a past life.
yeah, is that what a cat in a past life? Which I don't have a problem with that, but I have a problem with the litter box in the classroom. You know?
What?
Fair enough.
Wow.
That's the only thing that
Okay.
I have, yeah, that I have a problem with. It's like,
Mhm.
because I think that again, I know animals have evolved. They can evolve from one life. So you could be an animal in a past life and evolve in this life to be a human being, but a human being cannot evolve back down to a cat. That's
Mhm.
the known fact. And the
Hmm.
reason why, and I'm going to tell you why, because cats, like, it's not that they're not intelligent, but they're not more intelligent than human beings. And that's only because they haven't been able to experience everything that human beings experience, you know? But and it's the level of consciousness. So animals actually want to evolve to be people because they want to experience like everything that a human experiences. Come on, you don't never had a dog that like you're like that dog's a freaking person. It's like that they actually think that they're a person, that they
Mhm.
Like this one.
Aw.
yeah, exactly. Or my dog is like that too. It's like,
He's
yeah,
like waiting for me to
yeah,
finish. He's like,
yeah.
hurry.
Yeah, like where's my turn? Like mine, I had to shut the door. Like they're like, hurry up and get out. Like again, they'll tell you, where my older dog is not as evolved as the baby. That puppy that I have, he's fearless. I'll bring him into the dog park and he does not care. He's like, I'm gonna jump on. Like you could tell he's ready to be like a person. Like, don't tell me like where you want me to be. I'm listening, but I'm like, but I'm fearless. Where Dominic is like, oh, I'm a scaredy cat. It's like you got a few more years as a dog. You know, in my opinion, it's like because they say the highest form of intelligence is man. Now, I know that's what I say too. Because there's a few people that I really doubt quite highly that that's the truth. But nevertheless, it's supposedly the truth. And I think that people want to experience every creature wants to experience the max amount of life that they can. And human beings have the potential to be able to like go around the world and have all this freedom, you know, where even animals that can fly everywhere, they still don't have like, they can't experience everything that we can experience. So that's the whole thing of why we're down here to evolve into the highest state of consciousness. And that's why we're supposedly have domain over animals. Because it's like sometimes you're like, why did that person even own an animal? They shouldn't even own an animal. But really, it's because we're supposed to be more evolved. Like we're supposed to know better to like how to treat an animal. We're supposed to know how to do that. And to actually be that self-sacrifice, love, to give of love unconditionally. But really, the animal is what teaches us unconditional love, to be honest with you.
Well,
That's
I think that would be a great topic if you're looking for other things to break it up. It's or Akashic records or some of that other stuff.
yeah. Well, that's always what I'm asking. I said that's why tonight I did this. I was like, I want to do different things, so we could do Akashic records. Like I like that topic, but that's all like again, those soul programs. And I'll have a nice Akashic record background because I have one too, you know. And
Cool.
so if
Okay.
no one has any questions, I'm gonna get going and like I said, and send you that stuff.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
you. See you
Thank
You too,
soon.
you.
Shadow.
Love
Take
you
care.
guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah.